Gentlemen, how goes it? Today is my Friday. I don't have work tomorrow, which I'm happy about. Almost done with this job here, and then on to the new job, the good job. Yeah. So today is Sunday, March 30th, 2025. The time is 7:24 p.m. Got a pretty nice topic for you boys today. Something that I've covered dramatically in my channel's lifespan, but reiteration is consolidation. Yeah. I think about it and I go, yeah, I've covered the topic before, but people in the NBA have shot a basketball before. That doesn't mean they stopped doing it because they got good at it. Yeah. So I think this is always worth going over pretty frequently, honestly, even just myself. Yeah. Just as a reminder to myself. So you see the title of the video, How I Got Over My Fear of Approaching Women in Public. Yeah. This is a fear that I see in most guys, honestly. It comes in a lot of different flavors. Yeah, where the guy might say, "Oh, she's not my type. Oh, it's not the right time right now. Oh, you should just do this or that method. Oh, this." And we're going to go over a few of the different options that we have in front of us. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. This live stream was spurred from a school community post from one of our members. We can call him Isaac. And we're going to be going over his post as well a little later into the live stream because I thought it was an amazing post. Yeah, very, very useful information that he put in that post. So let's get into it. So the first thing I wrote, top of the whiteboard, I'll be panning left quite a bit, referring to my whiteboard. Top of the whiteboard, I put problem. We want dates. All right. So the main problem in our lives as it pertains to dating is that we want dates. Yeah. Most guys want an abundant and of course everything that comes with the dates. All right. Dates is just the blanket label that we're using. We want the happy endings and everything, the girlfriend, everything that comes along with the dates. All right. So that's our problem. We want dates. So when I was 18, plenty before this as well, but essentially when I was 18, when I first discovered the whole space, the red pill space. Yeah. I've since left that, but I remember my biggest issue back then, up until honestly the point when I was 23 and I worked with Christian, was that I had a decent look going for myself. I'd been in the gym, yeah, so I looked pretty nice with my shirt off. I was experimenting with different looks to find what fit the best. And what I remember specifically about this period of my life is I was grinding away at these low level jobs, mainly because that's all I was qualified for at the time. When I was 18 years old, 19 years old, I was qualified for DoorDash and restaurant work and cleaning windows, right? Now, this is pretty standard. And a lot of guys that are in this phase of life probably feel like they don't have much hope in regards to dating because if you're anything like me, I was having absolutely no luck back then. And I wouldn't say that age was the main concern, although certainly it was a concern, right? Because as a 19-year-old guy, my dating pool wasn't the biggest, right? I had 18-year-old girls, 19-year-old girls, maybe a 21-year-old girl would give me the time of day, but even her, she'd probably go, "Oh, you're too young, you're too immature." Rightfully so. I certainly was too immature back then. Yeah, with my deep diving red pill nights where I would go, how to pass a shit test? How do I neg the girl to make her like me, right? So of course, my dating pool was smaller back then. A lot of this had to do with literally not knowing what to do, not knowing better. Yeah. So our problem, and this is, I'm starting young, but this problem ranges up to guys that are 50s, 60s. Yeah. A lot of guys probably are in their mid 20s, mid 30s right now, and they're experiencing the same issue that I'm talking about. We want dates. We want everything that comes along with the dates. That's the problem. Yeah. So we got to build the problem up a bit to understand why we need an effective solution. All right. So what else does that leak into in our lives? Yeah. So I can remember this prior to being 23 years old and working with Christian. I remember that I looked solid. I'd been in the gym for a handful of years at that point, and I was on the up and up career wise, meaning I landed a six-figure programming job fully remote, and still overall, I wasn't happy with my life. I won't even use the word satisfied because in theory, I have all of my needs met. So, as far as a roof over my head, food in my belly. So I should have been satisfied. And you can argue that I was satisfied, but I just wasn't happy, right? Day to day, it felt like a drag. And the main reason was because I was going, well, I've done all of these things that all of these red pill content creators told me would get me the result, right? Get me the date with the girl that I'm after. However, where is she? She's nowhere to be found still. Yeah, I'm looking around. I'm going, well, I look sick with my shirt off when I'm flexing in the mirror. Oh, well, I got a nice little hairstyle. I got my little thrift shop going, and I had all these thrifted tees and stuff and thrifted polos. And I had the money, right? I had the money. Most people in the world aren't making six figures, and I was doing it when I was 22, right? So I'm looking around going, so where are the girls that these content creators were raving about? They're promising, right? So I was experiencing the same problem at that phase in my life that a lot of you may be experiencing. And you may be able to relate to me here. It doesn't seem like a big issue, right? You look around and you see plenty of guys that probably aren't doing the best with women. But for me personally, it was leaking into a lot of different areas of my life, i.e., just happiness in general, i.e., I'd get invited out to things with my friends and I would be unhappy or unsatisfied because, well, they got a girlfriend at home, they're chilling. Oh, well, they're doing good with girls at this point, they're chilling. But me, I was always, oh, we got to go out, boys. All right, let's go out to a bar now. Yeah, let's go try to hit on some girls. Oh, let's go out, let's do something. And so it was almost like this flame that was just always burning, and I could not extinguish it. Yeah, this flame being sex drive, essentially, right? So this is the problem, and we've understood how it can affect. And I haven't even mentioned work, right? In theory, I had the dream job going, remote six-figure job, but showing up to work was difficult for me because I'm going, oh, yes, I'm making good money, but when I'm here typing code on a computer, I'd rather be out trying to find girls that like me back, right? That's that's what my body was telling me to do, right? It's hard to override biology. So although we live in this fabric world, we live in this interconnected internet virtual AI world where we have the quick dopamine hits from drugs, from content, right? Content at our fingertips in our pocket. We have everything we need in that regards. I honestly I forgot where I was going with that, but point being, I was very dissatisfied. All right, and I imagine you boys can relate to this, or at least those of you who are in a similar position. Okay, so that's the problem. We want dates. Solutions. Let's go over the solutions that we've been presented. All right, so first and foremost, dating apps. All right, this is a big one. I remember spending hours of my life trying to maximize a dating app. Yeah, because once again, I was trying to solve my problem. I want dates. So the next logical solution is going to be lowest barrier to entry, easiest option available, which in that case, dating apps. Why is this an easier alternative? Well, it requires less effort, right? Because I don't have to actually physically present myself in front of the girl. That, I'm saying that in one sentence, but that right there represents the majority of the fear, right? Is presenting myself in front of the girl that I like. So you're telling me that I can still get that girl and I can eliminate the most difficult part of that whole process, the actual presentation, by simply taking nice photos. Yes, I remember I'd take this is pathetic. I bought a tripod with a little phone clip. I'd take it out to various locations. Yeah, parks, and to be fair, even the locations were lame because I was scared of people I was so scared that I was scared of people seeing me take photos for the dating app. So sometimes I'd even go to like a parking lot when it was dark and there was nobody there. And then I would take the photo, in front of one of the street lamps. So the lighting was decent. Oh, this is so funny. I go to a very remote part of a park. Yeah. Where I'd look left and right, make sure no hikers were passing me. Then I'd set up the tripod, put my phone on there, put it on like 3-second or 10-second mode. I bought a little clicker for my iPhone. Dude, it gets bad, right? I bought a little clicker for my iPhone so that I can be standing posing and then I can take the photo that way, right? And looking back on this, I go, it's crazy how much effort I was putting into this method with such little results yielded. Yeah. So in that case, I'm spending hours trying to maximize a profile, trying to make sure I've got all the lighting and the angles correct. I was trying to maximize the bio, right? Oh, what is the perfect Tinder bio to put? Maximize the first message. Oh my, how do I send the first message so that she for sure will respond? Yeah. All of these different areas that I was working on on a dating app. And what did I get from that? Tens of thousands of swipes. I imagine hundreds of hours spent collectively on these apps. And I think I hooked up with 3 girls, maybe 4, off of a dating app. And we talk about we talk about what's that ratio? Cost to benefit ratio, right? And it's like I'm spending all of this time on this method, and the benefit is 1 out of every 10,000 girls actually ended up coming out on a date with me, right? That's not to count the plenty of matches that I had that never replied or unmatched after I sent the first cheesy ass message. That's not to count the hundreds of phone numbers that I got that I sent the first text and they never replied, or we went back and forth for a while and then they stopped replying, or I invited them out on a date and they finally ghosted me. So all of this mental anguish that I was putting into this, and we have to remind ourselves, right? Why was I using this method and no other method? It's because of this fear, the fear that I put in the title. Yeah, the fear of actually presenting myself physically in front of the girl, but virtually makes it way easier. Yeah, we can all relate to that. All right, so that's the first solution, apps, right? The second solution, I see this all over my comment section. Social connections slash coworkers slash classmates. We can kind of group these all together, right? So this is the next solution, right? And the angle that people take that I've seen is, don't walk over to the girl. That's too hard. That's creepy. She'll think you're trying to ambush her. Don't walk over to the girl. Instead, you should make a lot of friends and then hit on those friends, or work for a large company and then hit on your coworkers, or go to school and hit on your classmates, right? This is a big one. So we bring the fear top of mind once again, right? The fear is what's causing us to kind of skirt around the edges here. Instead of walking over and saying, I like you, I want to date with you. Instead, what you should do is make all of these artificial friendships and social connections. And now you're out at the beach, which is funny because even this is going to require some bit of approach, right? Which is the main fear here. But when you're out and you've got all your friends and you're out at the beach, then casually spark up conversation with a group of hot girls next to you, which still takes some balls. And I'd be willing to bet most guys wouldn't be able to do that. Spark up casual conversation and then go from there to being friends. And now we got this big social group of people going out. And I might be summarizing this solution incorrectly, so forgive me, but that's the gist of what I get. Or they go, you're at work, maybe you have a hot coworker. Well, you're working with the girl for 8 hours a day, you're going to build some sort of a bond, then invite her out to a after work hour activity. Let's go to this play. And now you're building a bond, and then she'll fall in love with you because she spent so much time with you. Yeah, that's a big angle. Your coworkers. I had this all over my comment section when I was posting my very first infields. They were going, I post a rejection reel, right? A literal day of me getting fully rejected by every girl. And they see this and they're cringing with me, right? Now imagine me, I'm the one doing it, right? But they're watching it cringing. Oh my God, so cringe, right? And then they go, instead of doing this, what you should do is hit on your coworkers. Yeah, because that's a way lower barrier to entry. That's so much easier. This and that. Yeah. Now we move on to the third solution that and this is all, we're throwing out the window the solution of buying a hooker, right? Because that's an obvious solution to your problem as well. But I'd argue probably the worst solution, right? So throw that one out the window. So the third solution, and arguably the runner up in my opinion, is nightlife. All right. So nightlife. No, don't go walk over to the girl in broad daylight. No, don't walk over to her at the bus stop. Instead, what you should do is gather a group of friends and go out on the town on a night out, and you can certainly find a girl that way. Now, this one I actually think is very viable. Yeah, it just so happens that I suck at this. Yeah, and I prefer cold approach for a number of reasons. So I'll go over those. So, firstly, and this could be different for you, but I've found that when I go out at nighttime, I go out to these bar club venues with my friends. Yeah, because I've done it alone in the past, but even then, I still drink. But when I go out with friends specifically, that's pretty much all I do nowadays. If I am to go out, which is maybe once a month, once every other month, when I do that, I find that I end up consuming more alcohol than I initially intended to. So, for example, if I'm here on it's a Friday and I'm drinking or something like that, or it's a Wednesday, I'll throw a beer back, maybe two. A Friday, maybe three. If I'm feeling extra, I want to get extra a little buzz on, right? But when I'm going out with friends, what I noticed is it was just a drinking fest. Yeah, so maybe I'm running in the wrong circles. That totally could be the case. But these are guys that grew up, went to university. They were in frats, so you can imagine, kind of like the frat guy archetype. So these are the guys I hang out with when I'm going out nights on the town. And what do you know? They drink me into oblivion, right? Oh, Ephraim, another shot. Here, I bought all of us shots. Oh, here, next one, let's do two more beers, this and that. So that's one reason why I prefer cold approach to going out at night, is because I can just do it sober. I don't have to alter my state in order to do it. Yeah, and you could also argue that you can be sober in the night, and that's fair. But a lot of the night venues I'm going to, blaring music, EDM style, or we got indie music and dim lights, flashing lights, whatever. It's not even the environment I want to be sober in. If I'm in all seriousness, I probably wouldn't have much fun being completely sober in these environments. All right. Now, other and more important reason why I prefer cold approach to going out at night and trying to hit on girls this way is because I simply am not a very loud, contrary to what you may think by watching my videos, I'm actually not a very charismatic person. At least the 25-year-old version of me up until this point, I'm not a very charismatic person. When I think of someone with charisma, I think of somebody that can like just take the spotlight and entertain a group of people and make everybody laugh. And maybe it might appear this way if you watch me walk over boldly to a group of girls. Yeah, like maybe in my most recent video, I think there was a pair of girls that I was speaking with at one point. Yeah, maybe you could argue that's a little bit of charisma. In reality, that's just me, a shy guy trying to get over my fear one more time. Yeah, I don't really see myself as very charismatic. So the reason I bring this up is because oftentimes when I'm out with a group of friends, I end up like sinking to the bottom of the group in that I'm not the most talkative. I'm probably the quietest out of the people that I'm hanging out with. I still think that I suck at dancing, so I'm still like in my head when I try to go dance on the dance floor. Um, and yeah, I don't I seem to not be able to capture that much attention. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't gone out enough, which is fair, but this is part of my argument, right? Which is that I don't really want to go out. Yeah, what I notice is I go out the next day, I'm hungover, I'm a little more tired. I probably don't do what I meant to do the following day. And the cherry on top is that pretty much every single time I've never actually found luck. Yeah, so there are plenty of times where I've gone and I've talked to a girl. Maybe there's not blaring music, and so we're flirting, or some of these venues where I am dancing with a girl, but it's never gone past me making out with a girl at the venue. Yeah, so that's the furthest I've gone, is made out with a girl at a bar, as far as nightlife is concerned, and I'm not counting like parties, right? I'd classify parties. Maybe we put the parties and the social connections. All right. So that's actually, you know what, fair. We'll put another point in that category. Yeah, because I have found some luck at parties. I remember my roommate threw a party back a couple years ago, and yeah, that was a good time. All right. So now let's move on to the fourth and my preferred solution, right? Remember, problem we're trying to solve, we want dates. Fourth solution, cold approach. All right. So this is the solution that I discovered when I was 23, and I went, mind exploded, right? I didn't even know that this was legal. I didn't even know that this was a thing. I didn't even know that guys did this, right? Uh, when I thought daytime flirting, the furthest my brain even went until I came across Christian's content was like upstate New York guys sitting on, you know what I'm talking about, those movies, guys sitting on the stairways leading down to the sidewalk, all drinking Coronas and then whistling at the hot girl as she walks past, or saying something to her, and that was it. That's about all my brain could think of when I thought approach girl in daytime. I genuinely didn't think that guys walked over to the girl while she was going about her day, while he was going about her day, and just made something happen like that. This, and this portion here probably is why a lot of guys think this content is fake, right? They think mine or Christians or people in this space in general, they probably think, or a lot of people think that the content is fake, right? Because they're going, there's no way, right? There's just no way. That's kind of like what I was thinking, but I didn't actually think it was fake. I just thought this is insane. I need to learn this, right? That was my first thought. Excuse me. But anyways, dialing back in, cold approach, right? So this is a solution that I've landed on and I've gotten very good at it. And I want to highlight, let's pause here. When I say good, I don't mean good I'm a movie star. Imagine the scene where the guy, every single time the main character walks over to the girl that he likes, she melts in front of him, right? And he gets that date right on the spot, or she's like, "Oh, you're coming back to mine tonight." I don't That's not what I mean by good. Good meaning I'm good at getting over my fear of walking over to the girl when I see her and I like her. That's what I'm good at. Yeah. And what I've shown on this channel over a couple of years at this point is you get good at that portion, getting over your fear, and then getting in, the other portion you should get good at also is effectively stopping the girl, right? Rather than kind of going in half-ass with half a heart. You actually understand how to get in front of her in a way that she wants to stop, doesn't feel like something shady is going on, isn't too taken aback, right? You get good at that, and then you spam it. You do it enough times, and you find results. Yeah, and so that's the best part is the date breakdowns, all the talk about these dates that I've been on. Oh, all of that is a result of me spamming the approach, right? So guys might see the channel and they see the good parts, which is why I like to highlight the rejection reels and the bad parts. And I make this all very realistic for you, and I show you the approaches in succession and stuff. The reason I do this is because I don't want to paint a false narrative. I don't want you to think that you get good at getting over your fear and that means every girl is going to drop her panties for you. That's just not the case. Yeah, plenty of girls are in a relationship. Plenty of girls just look at you and don't like you. They might not like the hair. They might not like the style, the sound of your voice, whatever, the beard. Who cares? Point is that I've gotten, that's another portion, right? I've gotten good at just accepting that fact, right? I've gotten good at accepting the fact that, oh, not every girl's going to like me, and I've internalized it and I'm okay with it. That's not a problem to me anymore. All right. So we've gone over the solutions. All right. So now that we've gotten to cold approach, we can zoom in. All right. So this is the preferred solution. My whole channel is about this. So now let's zoom in the lens a bit. So how I got over my fear of walking over to women in public, right? Let's talk about the fear itself. So this is where the school post is going to come in shortly. All right. So we talk about the fear. Well, what fear specifically, like what specifically are we scared of? Yeah, it's not just that we're scared of walking over to the girl. There's something more that's going on, something deeper, something internal that's happening that's producing this fear. All right. So we can summarize what's going on to we're scared to approach the girl due to external judgment. All right. Now, I'll be right back because I really have to pee. I'll probably cut this. I'll just edit this part out of the live stream, but I will be right back because I got quite a bit more to go. Viewers, if you're going to leave, I understand. Oh wow. We got a viewer that stayed. Wow, that's crazy. How do we have more viewers when I left? That's too good. Oh, geez, Ephraim, your content is so good. You get more viewers when you leave the screen than when you're on the screen. That's too good. What's going on, Christian? He says introvert struggles. Yeah, I guess I could. I don't know what I'd call myself. Aaron says, "What's up? It's been a minute." Yeah, what's going on, Aaron? Good to see you, my guy. All right, let's dial back in. All right, I'll probably cut that part out. Maybe I'll leave it in. We'll see how I'm feeling. All right, so so this is where we left off. This is what I summarized the fear. All right. So reminder, we're talking about the fear of walking over to the girl. And I say, but yeah, what specifically are we scared of? Yeah. Like we're not scared of the girl, I don't think. Right. I'm like, she's not going to beat me up. Or at least if she tried, I think I could take her. Right. So it's like, we're not scared of our safety, are we? Maybe psychological safety is a better phrase. Right. So what are we scared of? I summarized it. We're scared to approach the girl that we like due to external judgment. Yeah, and I want to really emphasize the word external here because this external seems like a kryptonite to humanity at this point. All right, and I don't know how long it's been. Maybe this has been since the beginning of dawn, I guess since the beginning of conscious brain. Yeah, but external judgment is what we are mainly afraid of, and it's so unfortunate because what is not in our control is the external judgment. Yeah. So let's deep dive into this a bit. If you think about it, when you walk into a room, regardless of how significant or insignificant you are, somebody looks at you, they'll have a thought, which we can call judgment, right? Maybe they'll think, oh, that guy's hair is interesting. Maybe they'll think, oh, that guy's not even worth me having a thought about. Yeah, maybe they'll think, oh, that's it. Is this guy wearing hair clips in his hair? What's going on? For me, I'm sure a lot of people probably wonder, where the fuck is this guy from? Yeah, this looks like an exotic creature. People might wonder, oh, this guy's dressed fancy on a Sunday. Why has he got a button up on? Right. So just by virtue of you existing and being in their presence, they're probably going to have a thought, right? If I think about the thoughts I'm having, let's think about I'm passing by people while I'm walking on a sidewalk. Yeah, I'm walking over to the gym or I'm walking to get some dinner, right? And I'm looking at people. I look at the fat girl and I go, oh, that's just a girl. Oh, she's a bit overweight. Okay, and I keep going. Maybe I think, oh, that's a nice hair clip that she's wearing. I pan over. I see the hot girl. My initial thoughts, whoa, she's hot. Whoa, I should probably go talk to her. Whoa, I have a skill that allows me to do that. Whoa, right? I see a guy that looks like me. I go, damn, that guy looks just like me. What the hell? I never see people that look like me, right? Maybe I see a tall guy and I go, damn, that guy's a giant, right? But the point is, just by virtue of you existing and being in their presence, there is going to be some form of judgment. You don't get to control what that is. You don't get to control if it's positive or negative, right? And the best part too is you usually never learn what the what the thought was at all, right? For most people that you encounter on a daily basis, they may or may not have had a thought about you, a judgment about you. But 9 out of 10 times, you don't get to find out what that is. Maybe they give you clues by smiling at you or frowning at you or mean mugging you or whatever. But more or less, you don't actually, even then, right? A guy's mean mugging you for a few seconds. Half the time, if you walk over and go, hey, what's up, he'll just break out of that, right? Which is maybe that's just how his neutral face is, right? So there's always going to be external judgment. And it's crazy because that's what we are afraid of mainly, right? So the external judgment is amplified by something that we call the spotlight effect. All right. So it's one thing to be in an area, right? Let's say you're in town square. It's one thing to just be a person, an NPC in town square where there's also a ton of people around. But it's another thing to then draw attention to yourself while you're in that environment. Yeah. So now we imagine the people that are in town square that are begging for money. All right. Well, they're going to be they will be past negative judgment, right? But in their case, making money and surviving trumps whatever negative judgment will pass to them, right? We imagine the people that are playing the piano, right, and trying to get money that way. They're playing live music in town square, and then they got their hat out, so hoping that people will give them some money. Maybe those people are past negative and positive judgment, right? People that like music will appreciate it and they'll stand around and they'll clap and they'll give a dollar here and there. And then people that are annoyed will pass by and they'll go, "Oh fuck, get a real job," right? And they'll scoff at the guy, whatever. But the difference here is we're taking things to an absolute extreme, right? So I remember we were in Barcelona recently, just a quick detour, and as we were filming content, I was with Christian and a couple of the other guys. We stumbled across, we were near the main cathedral, and we stumbled across this huge circle of people. And in the middle of the circle was like these dancers, right? They had this big dance routine going. And what I remember about the dance routine is it was nice and stuff. And I had to start the clapping like at one point, right? Because they were like they did a trick and then they kind of looked around, they were expecting some applause, and then it was kind of silent, right? Except for the music playing. And so at one point I started clapping, and a few more people started clapping, but it was kind of like this somewhat awkward environment to be in, right? Well, they're being judged quite a bit because they got a million eyes on them or whatever it was, 100 eyes on them watching them. And when they mess up or the dance routine is anticlimactic and we're going, "Oh, you did a backflip, sick guy," right? It's like they're being passed judgment, right? For me, I'm thinking this is sick. I'm in Barcelona. We got a dance routine going. I'm with my boys. We're filming content. This is great, right? Other people, maybe the old couple that don't get along, they're going, "Wow, this is lousy. What are we? This is what Barcelona has to offer." Whatever. But they're passing some sort of external judgment onto the star of the show, right? Onto the main character in that moment. Now, and I'm going to introduce the school post very soon, but recognize that this is all external judgment that we're afraid of, right? So if there was like, yeah, well, let's get into the school post before I just get too off the rails here, okay? So so we'll call my man Isaac. All right. Oh, okay, sweet. I'm not supposed to be doing this. Yeah, Christian, we're actually going to get into that right now. Christian says, thinking I'm not supposed to be doing this, it's creepy, is something that trips me up a lot. There you go. All right. So we'll get into that very soon. So Isaac's post. Isaac says, he titles this Labeling Fears. He says, "Morning, fellas. After watching Ephraim's YouTube video live stream, You're Allowed to Like Women, about permission and normalizing cold approach, I decided to reflect on my deep fears." And this was a great post. So let's get into it. He says, here's a vulnerable post. All right, from Isaac. He says, "On my way to London yesterday, I was on the train thinking about the specific fears that race across my mind before every approach. And while I know the fear never fully goes away, I still felt like they hold me back more than they should, especially given how many positive experiences I've had on my journey. So I had a sudden idea, opened my notes, sporadically wrote down every fear I came up with. We're not going to read all of them, but he says, I ended up with 65 unique fears around the reaction of the girl and the reaction of the people around me in earshot. This was a shock because so many of them were irrational. All right, so let's get into the fears. He says, here's a few of them. They're going to think I'm weird. They're going to judge me. They're going to think I'm ugly. They're going to think I'm desperate. They're going to think I'm lonely. They're going to think I'm a loser. They're going to think I'm in over my head. They're going to think I'm creepy. They're going to think I'm a simp. I like that one. They're going to think I'm preying on women. They're going to ridicule me. They're going to laugh at me. They're going to think I'm a nerd. Yeah, they're going to think I'm harassing her. They're going to think I'm assaulting her, right? So these are all fears that rush through everybody's head. Yeah, not just Isaac. This is all of us. Yeah, maybe some of us have more than the others. Some of us have different ones based on our location, our upbringing, on how society as a whole views us, right? On our own self image. But I mean, you're pretty much hitting the nail on the head. Yeah, this is the fear, right? Now, what's interesting about this is that we can spin this an entirely different way and be completely justified doing so. All right. So the next thing I wrote was, we could think all of these thoughts right before we walk over to her. And just a side note, better believe those fears are going to manifest somehow. I don't want to get too woo-woo on you here, but if you are thinking in your head right before you walk over to the girl that you like, I hope that everybody around me, including the girl, doesn't think I'm creepy, doesn't think I'm weird, doesn't think I'm assaulting her, doesn't think I'm harassing her, this and that. And then you walk over with those top front of mind and you go, "Excuse me, I guarantee you that that there's something that it could be subtle, but there's something that's going to happen in your delivery, in the way that you're speaking, the way that you're standing, the way that you're fidgeting because you're nervous and these thoughts are rushing through your head. There's something that's going to be communicated to her that's going to tell on yourself basically. And she's, of course, she's not going to know what's in your head, so she's not going to think this guy thinks that he's creepy, this guy thinks that he's that the world is judging him right now, but she's going to feel the vibe, right? Which is going to be more or less, this guy seems nervous, this guy seems unsure of himself and what he's even doing, right? It's like if you're going to embark on such a bold act, you need to fully go in, right? Because if imagine you're going in for something that is going to attract so much attention and so many people think is just out of this world. I can't believe you're doing that. But if you're half-assing it, it's going to show through so clearly. Yeah. So she can feel these thoughts going through your head just by how you're saying, excuse me. Yeah. When on a day where I've been rejected, let's say like, I'm trying to film content and I go up to 9 girls and all 9 of them are in a rush, have a boyfriend, not interested. A couple of them just walk away without saying anything, which has happened. Then I guarantee you the 10th girl I walk up to, unless I pull myself to the side and just refocus, if I just continue pounding it, then the 10th girl I walk up to is going to feel that negative mountain of energy that's washed over me. And a very easy comparison is a day where I've gone up to 3 girls and all 3 of them liked me and all 3 of them gave me their phone number and we set up dates. Well, the 4th girl, I'm going to walk over and it's going to be a completely different presentation because I think differently about myself in that moment. And it sucks because the reason why I think differently about myself is based on external judgment. Yeah, it's based on how I've been judged in the past approaches, let's say, of that day. A lot of this is me trying to share with you how to not let this judgment control you and control how you view yourself. But to an extent, it's always going to be there, right? If imagine you walk over to a girl and everybody stops, points, laughs, yells, goes, "Oh my God, he's hitting on her. This is cringe." No shit, that's gonna impact you. I wish it didn't. I wish I could. And to be fair, I'm exaggerating the fuck out of this because that's never going to happen to you. But I'm just trying to give you the extreme end of the spectrum, which is if that happened. Well, yeah, obviously. Now imagine the movie scene, right? Now imagine you walk over to the girl, a bunch of heads turn, everything goes perfectly. The girl is, "Oh my God, I want to go on a date with you today," right? You plan the date for 7 p.m. We're going for drinks at Nobu's, whatever. And then you turn around, you got a crowd of people applauding you, high-fiving you, going, "You're the man. Oh my, that was so sick. I wish I could do what you did. Teach me," right? If you imagine that, right? Complete ends of the spectrum, same act, but what changed our internal view, the external judgment that was placed upon us. And it's so unfortunate. And I don't know if we can unwire this fully. And to be fair, I don't think we want to unwire this fully because you go to the far end of the spectrum, the people that claim to truly not care, not give a fuck about what anybody thinks. Well, a lot of these people are criminals. A lot of these people are doing shady stuff, and they're saying, "Hey, I don't care what you think, so I'm going to do this." Or they're just drugged out of their mind they're on meth, genuinely don't care what anybody thinks. So, all right, I see some of this judgment as useful, right? It's like you kind of are understanding where you're fitting into the society and how well you're doing, even though it's all made up. Yeah, we have to admit. But we have to also admit that there's a balance to this, right? Because some structure is good. If everybody just decided to turn off their brains and turn off that part of their brain that feels judgment and goes, "I don't care about anything," then people would litter the streets, then people would start committing crimes, then people would stop showing up to work, and everything would crumble, and people would be all every man for himself kind of a thing, right? So, okay, yeah, in order for us, we could admit that a society like this is for the greater good, and we could also admit that a bit of judgment goes a long way. Yeah, there should be some healthy doses of judgment, but let's get back to the problem here, which is we want dates, right? So what we're doing, in my opinion, is we're weighing the weight of our problem against the weight of the external judgment, and we're going, which one weighs more to us? Yeah. So for somebody that, let's say they're the prototype, what do they call him? The Chad, right? The prototype 10 guy that doesn't have to worry about anything, all this and that. What's funny is, and I've even had conversations with Christian about this. What's funny is a lot of the times that archetype of guy that everybody looks at and thinks, oh, that guy's crushing it. Oh, that guy can get any girl he wants. A lot of the time, that guy is one of the hardest to teach cold approach to, because they've had all of this external judgment placed on them from, since they were 15 years old, and got this sick look to them. And they're too afraid to ever go in for an approach, because they're seeing themselves as on top already, and that fall, right, is way further than a guy like me when I was 23, who had no girls around, and I was trying to figure out how to find the girl that likes me, or did any of them like me, right? Those are the thoughts that were going on in my head. So it was a very small jump for me, because I'm going, okay, well, I'm in a new, and add on top of that, I was in a foreign country. I was in a new continent where nobody knew who the fuck I was. So all of that compounded allowed me to break free of that fear of external judgment in this context, right? Keep in mind, I still have plenty of flaws and things that I'm afraid of. But in this context, for me, I was going, well, I want dates. And then I started looking around and thinking, I'm like, okay, do I care? How much do I care what Jeremy thinks about me? Jeremy the stranger, right? The guy, I don't know his fucking name. I'm naming him Jeremy. How much do I really, truly care about that guy's judgment being placed upon me, negative or positive? How much does that genuinely affect me, right? Because maybe if Jeremy was my boss, right, and he sees me get rejected, well, then I look a little less cool at work, and maybe that I'm a butt of a joke at work. Okay, for sure. Maybe if Jeremy was my relative who's gonna bring it up every time at the family function, oh, you saw that Ephraim tried to go in, it looked terrible, it looked so cringy. Okay, fair. But if Jeremy, right, and then we pan back over to social connections, and we wonder why this method I don't think it's too viable, right? Oh, just go out with your friends, all of which are too scared to approach the girl. Just go out with your friends and casually talk to these girls and stuff like that. And you find a lot of these groups, and I'm not blanket statementing this, right? There's plenty of success in all of these areas, I'm sure. Even dating apps, people claim to have the magic pill there. But majority of what I see when I've gone out, for example, is groups of guys, groups of girls. The ones that are actually on it are the guys that simply don't give a fuck about what people think about them, and are able to walk over and flirt with the girl and get rejected and move on. And a bunch of groups of guys that are too afraid of external judgment, that are too afraid of what people think of them. I've been out with plenty of friends just like that, right? Where I'm out and I tell them, look, 2 girls are behind us. It's me and you, bro. Let's turn around. Let's do something. And then, right, shakes his head no. Or he goes, oh, no, wait for the next song. Oh, no, it's too quiet right now. Oh, no, I don't even like them that much. Oh, no, they're too old. Oh, no, I need another drink, right? And this is all their way of saying I'm scared of doing that, right? Because he wants the same thing that I want. We're out at a nightclub for what? I mean, we're buddies and we're having fun grooving to the music, sure. But is that why we're here? Or are we here for something else? Let's be real, right? So I'm losing my train of thought here. Where were we? We're talking about external judgment. Yeah, something about we're scared of the external judgment being placed upon us. All right. So I guess this is a good place to transition into the next point. Whenever I lose my train of thought, let's just move on. Yeah? So that's what I was going to get into was, so let's read part of this guy's school community post again, Isaac, and then we'll go over the next thing that I wrote. All right. So big fears for him, for me, for pretty much every guy that's ever going to walk over to the girl in public, right? They're going to think I'm weird. They're going to judge me. They're going to think I'm desperate, lonely. Oh, they're going to think I'm a loser. They're going to think I'm in over my head, right? Oh, she's way too hot for him. They're going to think I'm afraid. They're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think I'm creepy. They're going to ridicule me. They're going to laugh at me, right? These are all the fears that are in our heads before we walk over to the girl. So what I wrote is they can, they being the strangers that don't matter, that don't care about you, they can just as easily think, wow, this guy is ballsy. Wow, this guy is a go-getter. Wow, this guy is so cool, so bold. Wow, I wish. But like the same. Think about this: the same strangers, right? That let's say this. Let's say we got a guy. All right, he's watching. We got Jeremy, the stranger, watching your approach. Right, the approach goes fucking rock solid. This I've had plenty of these. Right, the approach goes amazing. That guy can be thinking in his head, that was the coolest thing. That was so, I can't believe he just did that. Is something being filmed? Are they filming a commercial or something right now? Was that real life? Oh my God, did he just do that? Now let's take Jeremy and let's put him in front of an approach, or let's have him spectate the approach that goes so bad. You walk over, you go, excuse me, she looks, and then she speeds up her walk and walks away from you. That same guy, you're the same person, he's the same stranger. Let's even say it was the same girl on a different day. But in one scenario, his external judgment was positive and that causes you to feel good about yourself. And then in another scenario, his external judgment was negative and that causes you to feel bad about yourself. But the key here, and I'm speaking to myself also, is we should not care much about his external judgment simply for the reason that it doesn't affect you. It doesn't actually affect you. Maybe psychologically it affects you just a bit, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't actually affect like the course of your life. Think about it, right? Unless the guy comes over and socks you and goes, "What are you doing there, dude? Oh, she doesn't like you." And just socks you, right? Which has never happened to me. And I've accidentally walked over to girls that had their boyfriend in the vicinity who later joined us, right? I remember in Cyprus, oh, this is probably the best one, right? I remember in Cyprus, I walked over to a girl because I was firing away. I was absolutely firing away in Cyprus. We'd have to go minutes to 30 minutes, let's say 10 to 20 minutes at a time before we saw a hot girl. So when I did see one, I was just firing away. And I remember we were in Nicosia, the country's capital, yeah, and the island's capital, I should rephrase. And I walked down this flowing flight of steps, running after this girl. Oh, I'm making it sound predatory now, right? And as soon as I say, excuse me, a child runs up to her, and I look up in the direction the child came from, and there's a man walking towards us. And I go, never mind. And I run back up the stairs, right? So essentially, I approached a girl who had her wife and child or was going to meet up with her husband and child. I mean, talk about bad timing. But why am I telling you this story? Even in that case, I approached the guy's wife. Once again, no bad intentions here. I thought, that's a hot girl. Let me go say hi. No bad intentions, obviously. But in doing that, the guy watched me do that whole thing, walk over, excuse me. Oh, excuse me, 2 seconds. Yeah, don't worry. And then I see the kid run up, and then I see the guy, and I go, yeah, never mind. And then I run back up the stairs, right? Even in that scenario, the guys, I remember I don't know where they were going, to a restaurant near where me and Christian were sitting, but they came back up the steps a few minutes later. They saw me, they saw Christian sitting, and nothing happened, right? The guy didn't come over with a baseball bat and go, "Why were you talking to my wife?" Bop, bop, right? None of that happened. So even in these very extreme scenarios, right? And then, keep in mind, the key here is that it was innocent, right? It's not like I knew. It's another scenario if the guy's standing there with his wife, right? They're holding hands, and then you walk over to the both of them and go, "Hey, dude, your wife is absolutely gorgeous. I want to take her on a date." All right, now you're being an asshole, and now you deserve to get socked, right? But my point is, if you're just an honest fucking guy, no bad intentions. I'm just out here trying to get a date, which is this is 99% of us, right? Most of us are not trying to assault anybody. Yet in our head, we're thinking, if I walk over and say I want to take you out on a date, they're gonna think I'm assaulting her, right? 99% of us, we're not going out thinking, "Oh my God, I want to ambush this girl." But that's a thought in the back of our head, right? It's crazy. And it's sad that that's the case, but we're trying to unwire that with this content, right? So so my point there was, instead of going in, right? Instead of going in with the thoughts here, she's gonna think I'm weird, she's gonna judge me, they're gonna think I'm ugly, they're gonna think I'm desperate, they're gonna think I'm lonely, right? They could just as that girl that you're approaching, that you're worried she's going to think all of these bad things, can just as easily think, wow, this guy is bold. Wow, this is so hot. I've never had a guy walk over to me in this manner. Wow, this is so rare. I rarely ever have it. Wow, this was so attractive. She can just as easily think those thoughts. And it's more or less 50-50. Yeah, if you really get down to it. Yeah, you can factor in the percentage of women in whatever location you are in that are married slash taken, right? Yeah, you can try to measure yourself on one of these attractiveness scales and account for that. Oh, yeah, well, I'm actually a 7 or I'm a 6 out of 10, so I got to factor that in. Yeah, you can do all of this math and shit, which plenty of guys love doing, in my opinion, because it is easier to do the math and think, oh, I can't do this, than it is to just simply say, fuck the math and walk over, right? But anyways, it's just as likely that that girl can think these bad thoughts. Oh, this guy is weird. Oh, this is creepy. Oh, blah blah blah. That it is that she can think these good thoughts, right? So me now, how did I get over my fear of walking over to the girl in public? Let's just give you a brutally honest, raw rundown. When I was first starting out, I was in Poland. I was in Warsaw, Poland with Christian. And I'll be honest, the first 10 probably or so girls that I walked over to, I had these thoughts in the forefront of my mind. So I was walking over to her and I was thinking, she's going to think I'm creepy. She's going to think, what the fuck? She's going to think, what's going on? She's going to think, well, this guy is weird. What is he doing? She's going to think, right? And what do you know? That those thoughts that I was having in my head displayed themselves in my delivery, in the approach and the mechanics of it itself. Yeah, in the smoothness of the how the words were rolling off my tongue. Yeah, or lack of that. Those thoughts there, like this is kind of a good concept. Yeah, it's like I guess this is pretty self-explanatory, but the thoughts that you're having here are conveying themselves in all of these little micro expressions that you're giving out. So if you're going over and you're thinking I'm a creepy fuck, oh my god, that the world thinks I'm a creepy fuck. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna come out that way. Yeah. So getting back to me, no wonder I walked over in a very meek way. I remember my first approach, I was walking half a mile per hour. I got in front of her from the side, right? She's sitting on a bench facing forward. Instead of getting right in front of her, I like got diagonal to her. I go, excuse me, right? That probably sounded creepy the way I'm saying it, right? Excuse me. And then she looks up, yeah. And I'm going, do you speak English? You look beautiful. All right, bye. And then I run away, right? So that, I mean, that probably happened, 3 times before Christian was able to help me correct it. Then we get on to approaches 5 through 10, and I was a little better at walking over, but I was still scared. And day 2 is when I first stopped the girls that were walking, or that were, excuse me, oh yeah, that were walking, right? Because day 1 was just girls that were already stationary. Day 2 was girls that were walking. Day 3 was catching up with girls that I had already passed and walking back around. So it got ironed out really quick for me, once again, because I literally paid an expert to iron it out for me. But the point is, it's I am not different than you, right? So even Isaac, the guy who posted it, right? I'm sure guys can take my photo, a selfie of me and a selfie of Isaac, and they could try to do all this math and shit. Oh yeah, but how tall is Ephraim and how tall is Isaac? Oh yeah, but what is his ratio and this and that and SMV? And they can do all this stupid math. But the best part about all of that is, regardless of our external packaging, there's no difference as far as our fear. I started where you started, and every guy started. Maybe some guys were earlier than others because they had brothers that taught them. They took them out when they were 13 and went, all right, dude, let's go, I'm going to show you how to hit on these girls, blah blah blah. Or maybe they had some super cool uncles, right, who, whatever. The point is, we all started somewhere, and most of us start more or less in a similar place. Yeah. Now, to be fair, maybe we should discount the people that grew up in environments where this kind of stuff is normal, right? Because Joseph talks a lot about the Dominican Republic and let's say Central America, South America, where this is normal behavior. Yeah, where the guy walks over to the girl that he likes, and that's just seen as normal. Oh, I'd love to have been raised in that environment, right? So maybe we can count out those guys, because maybe by the time they were 3, instead of being taught, though, you have to eyes forward. Oh my God, do not look at the girl, do not show her that you're interested in her, pretend like you don't like women, pretend like you're asexual, right? This is all the shit that was drilled into us because we grew up in the classroom where we had our hot classmates with half their tits hanging out, but the teachers, oh, eyes forward, make sure you focus, Ephraim. Oh, stop chatting to that girl, right? Oh, just quit chatting to that girl, focus. So this is how most of us were raised. All right. So, but all that to say, yeah, we could probably discount, sure, maybe some guys don't have these fears because this stuff was encouraged for them. But in my experience, for the majority of guys that I've come across, guys on this channel, just friends out in the fucking wild, what I have learned is this behavior was not encouraged. In fact, it was criticized. Is that the word? Yeah, it was criticized. People said, don't do this. Or, they didn't specifically say don't walk over to the girl because they thought that was astronomically impossible. They just were essentially communicating to us, don't show your interest because blank. And then we haven't even talked about red pill rabbit hole, right? Where their whole angle is like anti-game or whatever. That's Christian's term. I apologize. Anti-psychology, right? Where they're talking about negs and, oh, you want a girl, you have to break her down to your level to get her, kind of a thing, right? Oh, you want to show that you are cool, you have to not respond to her text for 20 hours, stuff that I used to implement, right? Oh, you want to blah, blah, blah. You got to make sure you don't pay $1 on the first date until you get laid. And then you can start taking her out on dates, right? All shit that I thought, oh, this is truth because it was being poured into me. Pause. So anyways, let's get back to the list here. So we just talked about, she can just as easily think, wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is great. Wow, I can't believe this guy is doing this. This is such an attractive, bold act, as she can think, wow, this is weird. Wow, this is creepy. Wow, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So let's move on. So, excuse me. We're still going through the storyline here, right? So I was talking about my approaches. All right. So they started off very piss poor. Oh my God, I think I'm creepy. This is the main point of the video, right? Oh my God, I'm creepy. Girl will think I'm weird, this and that. I walk over, and that's that's communicating itself through my approach because of the angle I'm stopping her, right? Like a very recent example of this. We got guys in the entourage, newer members that flew out to Barcelona with us, right? And as soon as they landed, we were already approaching together and just getting to know each other, having a great time, right? Lining up dates together and stuff. And one of the guys that I was out with, we won't even name names. We'll just say one of the newest entourage members, right? What I noticed was he was approaching just as I would expect a beginner to approach, just like I was probably doing for the first few months. I mean, mine was, I'll be honest, I got pretty damn good because of working directly with Christian for so long, right? 30 days. But still, when I got back to the States and I didn't have anybody with me, I'm sure a lot of the old habits started creeping back in where I wouldn't stop her properly or get right in front of her and this and that. So what I noticed from this newest entourage member was guy was taller than me. Yes, one can argue better looking than me. Yeah, I don't know how much money he made, but just about the same age as me. But when he would, but the difference was the belief, right? The difference was the thoughts that were going through our head when we walked over to the girl. Because when I was doing it, I was thinking, that girl's gonna like me. Yeah, these are the thoughts that go through my head when I walk over to the girl. I think that girl is gonna like me. I want to go on a date with that girl. Oh my God, she's hot. I'd love to see what she looks like with no clothes on. I'd love to take that girl on a date. She's gonna love me. She's gonna think I'm this amazing, eclectic look. I don't even know what that word means, but this amazing, like exotic looking guy from the States, and I'm out here in Barcelona, and she's gonna love that. And blah. Oh, I'm gonna say this. But when he was going over, I could tell that he was thinking different thoughts, right? So he wasn't thinking, wow, she's going to love me. Wow, I want to take her on a date. He was thinking, wow, I hope not too many people see this, or this is what I assume, right? Or something along these lines. Wow, I hope she doesn't think I'm weird. Wow, I hope these people don't hear. Wow, I hope blah, 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 blah. How do I know this? Because as he's walking over, stopping the girl, he's like doing it with half a heart, right? So he's and this is something we corrected very quickly. And now the guy's fucking taking off like a rocket. But this is something I noticed very early on is, I imagine when he was doing his immersion with Christian was there critiquing this exact thing to the point where it was rock solid. And then I think it had been like a week or so since his immersion. Now he's back on it. And when he was out on his own doing this, it's hard to implement all of that coaching all at once and get perfect at it all at once. This stuff takes time, like any skill, right? And it's great to have a third person looking at you so they could tell you this, which is amazing. So he would kind of say excuse me when he was a little bit behind her still, or when she would kind of slow down, he'd stop and then she'd stop and they'd be like, on a sidewalk going in this direction, traffic's flowing, in this direction, but they'd be talking to each other in this direction, and it just looked kind of odd, right? It looked, and they'd be a little further apart than she would probably wouldn't have even mind if he took a step closer, but he was worried about, oh, does she think I'm weird? Does she think I'm creepy? This and that. And then you pan over to my approach. And I'm not going to sit here and say my approach is, oh my God, rock star 10 out of 10. But go and watch the most recent infield and you notice that, like, especially that first one from my most recent video, right? I literally got in front of the girl. She stepped perpendicular around me and started walking at a different angle. And then I started backpedaling more to stay in front of her while saying, excuse me, while saying, don't worry, I'm not selling anything, while giving her a flirty smile, right? And then eventually, right after like 3 seconds, she just stopped. And then I gave her I forget what I said, right? I tell her I'm new here, blah, blah, blah. I give her the compliment. All of a sudden, we're engaged. We're on an amazing conversation, right? Now, how did that one end? Well, eventually I told her I want to take her out and she says, oh, I have a boyfriend. Okay, yeah, I can live with that. But the point is, like, we're so worried about, okay, here's a good way to put this. We're so worried about external judgment. Oh my God, what will these people think about me? When we're thinking about that, the approach comes out creepier, right? When we're thinking about that, the approach itself starts to look a little odd versus you see me walking over in that bold of a manner, right? And you can tell I'm clearly not there to assault, ambush anybody. You can see I don't have any malintentions, right? Most people seeing me like get in front of her, trying to backtrack and stuff, backpedal in front of her, they probably thought that guy is just an aggressive salesman. Oh, that guy's just trying to sell her something, blah, blah, blah. Maybe by the time we were stuck in conversation and we're making her laugh and stuff and flirting a bit, they probably caught on to the fact that I was actually flirting with her, right? But my point here is that when I go in with the mentality of this girl's gonna, to be fair, I was filming, so I was really thinking, all right, I need to make this really good. I want to get really good content. I want to get really good conversations. But notice how the thought process was still positive leaning, right? Maybe I wasn't really thinking I want to take this girl out on a date much, because that's what I'm thinking when I'm out approaching for myself. But when I'm approaching for content, still the mentality is leaning positive, which is I need to get content. I want to get good conversations. I want to be able to get numbers and try to line up dates on cameras to show what it looks like, full sequence, start to finish, right? Oh, I want to make sure this stop is good. I can really get in front of her, really go for it. But that's what I'm thinking. And then notice how the approach comes out, right? What do you know? Even a girl that tries to sidestep it still ends up stopping and engaging with me for what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? So what looks creepy slash odd slash whatever is, or at least more creepy or odd or weird or blah, 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 is when you go in with half a heart, she half stops, you half give her the compliment, yeah, you look nice, and then she just walks off, and then you think about external judgment. Well, if Jeremy the stranger was watching that, that's the one he would think that was kind of odd, right? Wasn't that one kind of odd? The guy was kind of walking behind her for a bit, and then he gathered up the courage to kind of say hi, and then she stopped for half a second, took out her AirPod and went, yeah. And then he went, you're hot, you're cute. And then she went, I'm in a rush, and then walked off. All right. That one probably looks more out of place than the guy who is just going for it, right? Than the guy who just gets in front of her. Excuse me. One thing to weave in here was Dan, right? The filmer, Christian's filmer. This is such a great, I'll probably use this for the end of time. The guy says, when you're trying to stop the girl, you need to do it with the same, I forget the word he used, the same committedness, I guess, conviction. Yeah. You need to do it with the same conviction as if she just dropped her wallet and you're trying to return it to her, right? You see the girl drop her wallet. Hopefully you're a good Samaritan. You want to return the wallet and not take it. So you pick the wallet up and you're not going to be kind of thinking about it behind her for 5 seconds, right? You're not going to be thinking, okay, which angle is the best to stop her? Okay, there's 4 people over there. They're going to all hear me return her wallet to her. I don't want them to hear me return her wallet, right? You're going to look over here. You're going to think, oh my God, there's a street crossing. Maybe I should hurry up, or maybe I should, right? Maybe I should wait till she crosses again. And then you're not going to be thinking all this shit, right? Because think about it, the thoughts in your head are what's different, right? You're not worried about external judgment. You're not worried about what will these people think. At worst case scenario, if you are, you're thinking about the positives you'll get, right? What will these people think when I return this wallet to her? Well, they'll think I'm great. Well, they'll think I'm a stand-up guy, right? But isn't that a great example? You're not thinking about, oh my God, what angle? How many people are around? Is she going to think I'm creepy when I return the wallet? Is she going to think I'm trying to ambush her when I hand her wallet back, right? You're not thinking about that. And hopefully you would try your best to get her attention, get in front of her. Excuse me, ma'am. Hey, you just lost your wallet. You just dropped your wallet. I picked it up for you. Here you go. Be more careful next time. All right, get to class or whatever, right? You're not fucking thinking about, oh my God, this girl, she looks too mature for me. Oh my, she's gonna think I'm creepy. So so if you can emulate that same kind of mentality, right? I'm going to return the wallet, right? I'm going to drop off the compliment. I'm going to try to get a date. Positive thoughts, right? I'm trying to get a date. I like this girl. This girl looks great. I bet I can make her day right now, right? You kind of get this different, there's like an energy switch that happens, right? You become a kind of a different character, right? Same guy. If you put me in front of the girl and you put earphones in, right? This would be a funny exercise. Put AirPods in and then just pump content that says you are creepy, you are a weirdo, nobody likes you, nobody, they're all gonna think you're weird. And then you tell me to go walk over to the girl. I bet it's gonna look different, right? Than if you put earphones in and it's playing, you are the fucking man, go after what you want, oh, that girl's gonna love you, oh, this and that, right? It's the mental food, right? It's what we're feeding ourselves mentally. It's very important. Yeah. So next point I put here is people critique my approach. That doesn't change my results. Yeah. So here's a little bit of hope for you, right? Which is you practice the skill enough, you get good at it, you start getting results, and something happens. There's a switch that happens, right? And it's something that really can't be taken from me anymore, which is I've gone on a lot of dates through this exact skill set, right? So when we talk about the fear kind of fading away or at least becoming less prominent in your mind, and we talk about the switch from like, oh my God, she's going to think I'm creepy, to she's going to love me. Part of that was earned through going through a lot of rejection, putting in a lot of reps, but also getting a lot of dates lined up. Yeah. So think about it from the perspective of me, a guy who's actually found quite a bit of what we would call success with this exact skill set. Yeah. You think about, and that's not to, at this point, I wouldn't even count getting the phone number as making me feel that good. But like early days, right? First month of cold approach, let's say getting those phone numbers when I was a month in still felt like a positive boost. And still to this day, right? If I walk over, even if I guess I'm hesitating here because I don't really take a phone number down unless I can tell the girl wants to go on a date. And I've gotten really good at identifying girls that do want to go on a date. Now, every now and then I still get thrown a curveball where it's an amazing interaction. The girl really seems to like me. We even try to set up a date for, like, I most recently, the girl from the UK about 2 months ago or so that I met right over here during this apartment viewing, I remember it was like an amazing connection. And we set up a coffee date for the following Monday. And then the first text I sent her, she never replied to. So still to this day, I get curveballs like that where I'm like, I thought everything was perfect. But point being, when you're first starting out, what you should really internalize is the positive reference experiences. Yeah. So these little wins that you have, recognize they will start to reinforce your sense of self-worth, right? We talk about the external judgment is something we simply can't avoid. I wish I could, but I just can't unless I take a fucking Xanax or something. Yeah. So if we can't avoid the external judgment, then try to stack it in our favor, right? So when you get these little wins, that is what should be going through your head is, well, it shouldn't be, well, that girl's gonna think I'm creepy. Oh my God, because I don't know, is this skill set is this legit? Oh, do I look weird? Do I sound weird? Instead of thinking that, you can think, wait, yesterday that cute girl gave me her phone number, so this girl probably will too. So this girl's probably gonna like me too. Yeah, and so then at the point where I've gotten where I fly to Barcelona and line up 3 dates in 3 days. Yeah, now at this point I'm going, yeah, that girl's probably gonna like me. Yeah. Now, to be fair, I'm not. This doesn't mean I'm the most arrogant guy ever. I still just I think 2 days ago, I remember I even had a live stream where I said there was a girl that I still thought way out of my league, right? And I'm going up to her anyways, but still, I still have these thoughts of inadequacy. But most of the time, I'm walking over with this certain arrogance to me, and it's not an asshole like red pill arrogance. This one's earned. Yeah, this one's built. This one is I've met enough girls that look just about as hot as her, and a lot of them have come out on dates with me and they've liked me. So who's to say she's not going to as well? It's that kind of an arrogance. Yeah. So that's why I wrote here, people can critique my approach, but that doesn't change my results. And that doesn't change my results part is important because that a lot of that is what can fuel you into the approach in a very positive light. So I no longer I still have my days where let's say I have an approach in a week or 2 weeks. Yeah, getting back in the groove is going to be a little tough day one, let's say when I have a day off and I'm like, oh, I feel like going on a date today. Yeah, I'm probably still going to have some thoughts in my head about, okay, is this shady? Okay. But that subsides very quickly when I remember, wait a second. I've gone on so many dates by doing this exact. Wait a second. I found so many women that liked me back simply by walking over and saying, "Hey, you look amazing. So what are you up to?" Yeah, is that and so this is why I say people can critique my approach, right? So recently, Christian, I think today, just posted a video of one of my infields, and it was great. We recorded an intro for that exact purpose. I said, dude, let's record an intro for your channel right before we record the infield because we could just dual purpose it. Yeah, you could use it on yours, client results. I could use it on mine, personal infield. And there was a bunch of comments, right? A bunch of comments of guys saying things that I can improve on, right? They say, oh, you sound like a nice guy. Oh, and one guy was talking about the way I dress. Oh, improve your style. Oh, you're not leading enough. He goes, the girl's Russian. You're not leading enough. Okay, fair enough. I mean that we actually I won't even say what I was going to say, but the point being, I'll keep that one. I'll keep that one for the exclusive members. Yeah, once I have an exclusive membership, you'll get to hear the good stories there. But point is, people can critique me until the fucking cows come home or whatever the saying is. But what's interesting about the people that critique me are oftentimes they don't show me what they mean, they just tell me. So the reason why I simply just can't take it to heart, just bounces off me. It literally bounces off me like a ping pong ball, is because I see that the same way as I see one of my uncles, for example. Let's say we're watching a basketball game. I'm over at the family house. We're watching a basketball game, and they go, "Oh, Steph, you missed that shot. Oh, you don't miss those. Come on. Oh, stop turning the ball over." They're going, "LeBron, you can't. You can't even dribble. You can't shoot threes. You can't do this." Right? And they're talking shit. Now, to be fair, this is all in good-natured fun, and they're not trying to demean the guy. But the point is, take this, zoom out a bit, and you go, all right, well, one guy has spent half his life in the highest level basketball association in the world, the guy's a billionaire at this point, and the guy that's critiquing him on the very sport that the guy made $1 billion in is a guy that's overweight, sitting on the couch, beer in hand, right? You got a turkey leg in the other hand, feet up on the lazy boy recliner, going, "No, LeBron, you should have done this, you should have done that." Right? I see that we can say this for everything, right? And once again, I don't want to take this too far because part of that's part of the fun, right? Is you get these emotional roller coasters. Oh, you're cheering for the team. Oh, your team is doing bad now. You're criticizing whatever. But what I'm using a comparison. The guys that comment on my videos, on Christian's videos where he features me, I see them the same way, right? Because it takes so much more to actually pick up the camera, right? Walk outside, mic yourself up, walk over to the girl. Yeah, see Christian filming me in my peripheral right behind her, right? And still pull off a solid conversation where the girl stops, the girl likes me, the girl's laughing. We set up a date. She puts her number in my phone. We go tomorrow after 7. Let's do it. We set up a date. She comes out, right? That is so much harder to do than it is to just open YouTube, watch a video for 10 seconds, skip through it, go, "Oh, I don't like this guy's style. That's why That's why he got rejected the first 4 times. Oh, this guy's not leading enough. She's Russian. You got to lead. So I'm going to type that now, right? It's so much easier to do that, right? To sit on the recliner and drink the beer and say, LeBron, you got to shoot better, than it is to become the fucking billionaire through that exact act, right? Than it is to actually pick up your nuts and walk over to the girl and show people what I mean and how I do it and how I get results from it, right? So that's a big reason why I can just post this content out there and not really care how some people take it, right? And the best, what I would say is the best part about that is the guys that see it in a positive light are oftentimes the guys that end up trying, learning, improving, and then actually yielding results. The very thing that these guys are criticizing, oh, you didn't stop her this way. Oh, you need to cut out the nice guy stuff. But they won't actually they won't post a video and go, this is what I mean, and then demonstrate it in real life. Right. But they can comment all day about it. They always fall to the wayside when we compare them to the guys that engage with the community, start putting their reps in, and then start lining up dates. And I'd be willing to bet every dollar in my savings account, which isn't a lot, but it's all I got, that the guys that engage with it in a growth mindset kind of way, so not a critiquing kind of way, but more so like, what can I learn from this? Yeah, maybe Ephraim isn't, oh my God, the perfect prototype example of how to do this perfectly, which you could argue I'm fairly decent, but certainly I'm not the prototype, right? But I certainly I'm better at the act than the guy who's keyboard warrioring, complaining about it, and then not showing what he means, not actually demonstrating the critiques that he just made, right? So these guys, the ones that engage and try, always get better results anyways. Oh yeah, what I was saying is I'd be willing to bet every dollar in my savings account that these guys are getting more dates lined up than the guys that are critiquing. Every dollar I'd be willing to bet, yeah? And then lastly, and arguably my favorite part about this live stream, is something that I've gone over plenty of times, but I think it's always worth re-emphasizing, yeah? Floating rock mentality. All right. Hey, what up? We got some more commenters. What's going on? Floating rock mentality. All right. So I've gone over this one quite a bit. I don't remember what YouTube video I found this on. I'm sure all of you have heard some version of this. Yeah. But floating rock mentality is, if it is at all true that we are on a astronomically large globe with forces such as gravity and static friction and all this shit, and that globe is spinning at X 100 or X 1,000 miles per hour, they claim. I don't know. I'm not a fucking physicist or whatever. And that floating globe of energy and matter and different compounds and the elements in the periodic table, that spinning globe is hurling through vast nothingness that we call the universe at X light years per hour or whatever it is. Oh, probably not light years. I don't know. X miles per hour, right? However fast we're going. And that globe that's hurling through nothingness is also rotating around a gigantic bundle cluster star that has this just the most ridiculous power that can burn you if you get too close. Like, if any of this is true, does it really matter that much what Jeremy the stranger thinks about you when you walk over to the girl that you like and you try to get a date? Yeah, let that sink in. If it's at all true that we're on a spinning rock hurling through the unending universe that nobody can still to this day define and figure out, and it's expanding somehow, and what is it expanding in anyways, and when did it start anyway? And no, we don't have any of these answers. And in 70 years or 80 years, however old you are, but in 80 years, certainly, probably in 120 years, certainly, everybody watching this live stream, including the creator that's streaming it, is going to be dead. And none of his existence he will remember, and none of what he did will matter for and maybe another 10 years, maybe 100 if I do something amazing. Maybe if I'm LeBron James, I go down in NBA history, and then eventually the earth implodes, or we get hit by a fucking what do you call it, asteroid, or AI takes over and kills us all, or whatever happened, or the universe explodes, the sun explodes, and finally a black hole, whatever. The point is, there is going to be a point where nobody remembers you, nobody remembered that you ever existed, nobody cares that you ever existed. You might, there will be a day where that is going to happen. And to think that you let Jeremy the Stranger's opinion stop you from maximizing whatever short time we even have on this earth is just absurd. Yeah, really let that sink in. Like, that's why we talk about cold approach being like a freedom catalyst. Yeah, it's like something we go to the extreme end of the spectrum, and we prove to ourselves that we can actually make something happen by doing something that the rest of the world thinks is insane. And then we think, wait a second. So if I do this and everybody else tells me not to do it, and then I actually get results from it, and everybody else said you'll never get results, and everybody else says you should stop doing this, and everybody else says you're creepy, everybody else says you need to change your style. They say you need to, oh, you need to walk a different way. They say you need to hit on your coworkers. Everybody was telling me this is how things are, and I found out for myself that that's not true. Then what else is not true? Yeah. And so it starts to like unravel the rest of the world for you. And now I take a trip to Barcelona. I meet 2, 3 women, and I go on dates, and I go, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't think this could ever happen. What else can happen on this short time that I have on the earth? What else can I make of my life? What else should I be doing and stop doing? Right. I go back to, I go from Barcelona, where I had the time of my life, back to this monotonous leasing job. And I'm going, what am I? I'm spending 8 hours a day here, right? Let's do the now. If there was ever a time to do the math, it's now. Yeah, it's when we count the time that we're wasting, not when we try to critique why we can't, why we're not good enough, why we shouldn't, why we'll never. If there's ever a time to incorporate math, it's when we're counting the hours and the days that we're wasting on things that we don't want to be doing. And the only reason we're doing them is because people tell us that we should be doing them. People tell us that we should have done this. We should have gone to college. We should have this certain career path. We should not stray too far from the median or the mean line, right? We shouldn't stray too far. Oh, you don't want too much variance, too much deviance in your life. Oh, you don't want to. And then we look over at the rock star and we dream about, oh, I want to be that, or oh, the guy who chased his dreams was the athlete living his life that way. And you wake up and you want something else, and then you choose monotony, and you choose the like now you see why it goes deeper than day game. Yeah, it's not just about going and getting the girl, but the great thing is that all I need to do is teach you how to do that for the rest of the things to unravel. I don't need to be a genius and know all of this shit and know how to change your paradigm. I just need to teach you how to get over the fear, walk over to the girl, go after what you want. And by doing that, that very fear and act and getting over that is going to teach you pretty much everything that I've learned up until this point, which is none of this shit's even real. Yeah, I'm not saying this like I'm coked up. I'm not saying this like I'm on 5 grams of shrooms right now. I'm saying this stone cold sober. None of this is, it's all made up anyways. Yeah, so we talked about earlier in the live stream. All right, some judgment is good, because if I went too far on this path, then I'd quit my job, I'd fly to Costa Rica, I'd start selling shit out of a garage, and I'd be doing all these. Yeah, okay, sure. A little bit of reality is important. And even that we could probably argue to a certain extent. But point is, are we floating rock mentality? Yeah. Is any of this even real anyways? If I'm going to be dead in 100 years, then on my deathbed, am I going to look back and go, God, I'm so glad that I listened to whatever everybody else said. I'm so glad that I let everybody else's judgment about me stop me, right? Imagine the guy who's dying a virgin, right? Who tried his whole life to get laid, and he lays on his bed, right? He lays on his deathbed, a virgin. Now, that's probably not the worst of the guy's problems, but just imagine being that guy and then coming across a channel like this. How soul crushing would that be? Yeah, to recognize in your last moments, oh, you mean that floating rock mentality? Wait, you mean that external judgment actually doesn't affect me that much. Wait, you mean that all this time I could have at least attempted? What's the worst that can happen? I've already told you I walked up to a girl that I thought was smoking hot just to find her husband and her child walking towards her as I approached. And I'm still here and I'm still alive and I still have no gunshot wounds and I still have no stab wounds. So clearly, this is not illegal. Clearly, unless you're living in I don't fucking know, United Arab Emirates or wherever. You go after what you want, right? This is me telling you as a guy with good intentions to an audience of guys that I hope deep down in the depth of my heart, I hope also have good intentions. And I'm teaching you how to just go get what you want in a very direct way. Yeah, not in an indirect app, just swipe on a dating app way, not in a try to hit on my coworkers because I'm too scared to go up to a stranger type of way. Nah, just like, let's just cut the bullshit, right? We talk about getting from starting point to destination in the quickest way possible. Quickest does not mean easiest though, right? Quickest just means quickest. Yeah. So sure, we could spend a few years maximizing the dating apps and get bottom of the barrel results from that. Yeah, sure, we can go drink a few pints with the guys and every fourth Friday we can bring a girl back and that's how we're doing it. Sure, we can quit jobs and start a new job and hit on all the coworkers and oh, none of them like me, quit the job, start a new job, hit on them or whatever. Sure, yeah, you could do that, but I'm seeing all of this as a roundabout way to solve the problem that we started with on this live stream. We want dates. That's all this is. Yeah, we want dates. So we can solve that in a way shorter path by just believing in ourselves, creating ourselves molding ourselves into the type of guy that actually deserves the fucking date, which part of that is believing that you deserve the date. Yeah, but a lot of that has to do with the internal work and the external work. And we've got videos and topics on that as well. But you get to that point, and then the path of least resistance would be skirting around the problem, which is I want dates in the most indirect way possible. The path of most resistance would be the shortest path, but the most effective path. And in my opinion, the only path worth taking, or at least the path most worth taking, because it's the shortest path. Because in one day out in Warsaw, Poland, in one day of cringe, what we would call cringe approaching, I was able to blast through this fear. Day 2, I had a date lined up. Day 7, I had a few lined up. Day 30, I had already met a bunch of girls and gone on a bunch of dates in Warsaw, Poland. And now 2 years in, if you know, as you see, I've cleaned up my channel a bit, and we'll hear about that as we move on. But I'm thinking about putting some of that as exclusive content behind a paywall, but we'll go with this for now. For those of you who've already seen the date breakdowns and the rest of my channel and when I actually post what results look like, shortest path path. Do you know how long it would have taken me to meet this many and this quality of women through dating apps? I'm 25. I probably still wouldn't have gotten any of those, right? I probably still wouldn't have gotten the matches with these kinds of women at this frequency in different countries. Same thing with the nightlife aspect. Yeah, maybe if I spent some time working on that area and really went out and found a good group of guys to go out with. Yeah, sure, maybe. But this I could do it fucking solo. I'm out here in San Francisco on my own, man. On my own. Walking over. Damn, you look good. Do you want to go on a date? No. Do you want to go on a date? No. Do you want to go on a date? No. Do you want to go on a date? Yeah. Let's go on a date. And that's it. That is it. All right. Floating rock mentality, boys. Does it matter? Does Jeremy the Stranger's opinion of you really matter that much? I would argue no. So in conclusion, we must go after what we want. Isaac, I hope you enjoyed the stream. And as always, boys, going for your approaches. I know I will. Have a good night.